It all started with a betrayal so deep, it felt like my very foundation crumbled beneath me. Imagine pouring your heart, soul, and every last penny into a dream, only to have someone you once trusted try to shatter it all. Was I wrong for the way I reacted? Was I justified in fighting back with everything I had? Tell me, honestly, if you would have done the same thing. I mean, when someone tries to sabotage your new business, your livelihood, your entire future, what are you supposed to do? Just roll over and let them win? I certainly wasn't going to, not after everything I'd been through to get to that point. Let me take you back to the beginning, to a time when I thought my world was finally coming together. My name is Alex, and for years, I had harbored this intense passion for baking. Not just any baking, mind you, but artisanal bread and pastries. I loved the science of it, the way simple ingredients could transform into something truly magical with the right touch. It was more than a hobby. It was an escape, a comfort, a vision for my future. My dream, ever since I was a little kid watching my grandma knead dough, was to open my own small bakery, a cozy spot where people could come for fresh, warm bread, and a sense of community. The journey to even consider making this a reality was long and arduous. I worked tirelessly at a soul-crushing corporate job for nearly a decade, saving every spare dime, sacrificing nights out, forgoing vacations, all with that one goal burning brightly in my mind. It wasn't easy. There were countless moments of doubt, exhaustion, and the nagging voice in my head telling me to just stick to the safe, predictable path. But the thought of those warm loaves, the smell of yeast and cinnamon, always pulled me back. During this time, my closest friend, or so I thought, was Chloe. Chloe and I had been inseparable since high school. We went to college together, shared apartments, celebrated birthdays, cried on each other's shoulders through heartbreaks. She was my confidant, my ride or die. When I first started talking about my bakery dream, she was incredibly supportive. She'd listen patiently to my endless monologues about sourdough starters and proofing times. She'd taste test my experimental recipes, offering encouraging words even when my brioche turned out denser than a brick. I confided in her about every fear, every financial worry, every little triumph. She even helped me come up with a name for my bakery, the Daily Crumb. It felt right, a nod to the simple, essential joy of bread. Her enthusiasm felt genuine, and I truly believed she was happy for me. I mean, why wouldn't she be? We were friends. Finally, after years of relentless saving and meticulous planning, the day came. I quit my corporate job, which was both terrifying and exhilarating. The relief of shedding that corporate skin was immense, but it was quickly replaced by the immense pressure of knowing that now, everything was on me. I found the perfect small storefront in a charming, up-and-coming neighborhood. It needed a lot of work, but I saw its potential, its character. I invested every last cent, and then some, taking out a small business loan to cover the renovations, equipment, and initial inventory. Those months were a blur of sawdust, paint fumes, and endless hours spent researching, ordering, and physically transforming the space. Chloe would occasionally drop by, bringing me coffee, sometimes offering to help paint a wall or wipe down a counter. She saw the exhaustion in my eyes, the sheer determination. Or so I thought. When the Daily Crumb finally opened its doors, it was a dream come true. The aroma of freshly baked bread filled the air, the pastries glistened invitingly, and the cozy ambience I had envisioned was finally real. The first few weeks were slow, as expected, but word began to spread. People loved the quality of my products, the friendly service, and the passion they could feel in every bite. I was working 12, sometimes 14-hour days, but I was happy. Truly, deeply happy for the first time in a long time. The reviews were overwhelmingly positive. Customers were becoming regulars, and I even started to turn a modest profit. It felt like I was finally building something real, something that was mine. This was my legacy, my creation. Then, the cracks started to appear, subtly at first, almost imperceptibly. It began with strange comments online. Anonymous reviews popped up on various platforms, criticizing the Daily Crumb. They weren't just negative, they were oddly specific, almost as if the reviewer knew the inner workings of my operation. One review complained about a burnt batch of croissants on a specific Tuesday when I had, in fact, accidentally overbaked a tray. Another claimed that the owner is rarely present, which was baffling because I was literally there every single day, from dawn till dusk. I brushed them off initially. You can't please everyone, right? But then the comments escalated. They started accusing me of using cheap, inferior ingredients, of being unhygienic, even of shortchanging customers. These were vicious, targeted attacks designed to undermine every aspect of my business. My heart sank deeper with each new review. I meticulously checked my finances, my inventory, my cleaning schedules. Everything was above board. I was obsessive about quality and cleanliness. Who would do this?
And why?
I confided in Chloe, showing her the reviews, feeling a knot of anxiety tighten in my stomach. She seemed sympathetic, offering words of comfort, telling me not to worry, that it was probably just a competitor or someone having a bad day. I wanted to believe her, but a seed of doubt had been planted. The attacks didn't stop. They intensified. One morning, I arrived at the bakery to find my carefully crafted chalkboard sign, which listed the daily specials, defaced with ugly graffiti. It wasn't just random scribbles. It was a crude drawing of a rat, with the words "dirty crumbs" scrawled beneath it. My blood ran cold. This wasn't just online anymore. This was personal. This was someone deliberately trying to ruin my reputation in the physical world. I felt a surge of anger, followed by a wave of fear. Was I being paranoid? Was someone really out to get me? I spent the entire day feeling on edge, constantly checking the door, wondering who could possibly hate me enough to do something like this. The next blow came in the form of a call from one of my regular customers, a lovely older woman named Mrs. Henderson. She sounded distressed. She told me she had received an anonymous letter in her mailbox, warning her about the Daily Crumb, claiming my bakery was a front for something illicit and that my products were making people sick. My hands started to shake. This was beyond a bad review or a vandalized sign. This was a calculated smear campaign designed to drive my customers away and destroy everything I had built. So that's the situation I was in, and I had to make a choice. My dream, my livelihood, everything I had worked for, was under attack from an unseen enemy. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have just given up? Would you have tried to ignore it? Or would you have fought back, desperately trying to uncover who was behind this malicious assault? I wasn't going to let them win. I knew I had to fight. My first thought was to trace the IP addresses of the online reviews, but I quickly realized that was beyond my technical capabilities and likely wouldn't lead anywhere concrete. I considered installing security cameras, but the damage was already being done. I needed to find out who was behind this. The specific nature of the comments, the knowledge of my internal operations, kept nagging at me. It had to be someone close, someone who knew me and my business intimately. The only person who fit that description was Chloe. The thought was sickening. My best friend? The person I trusted most in the world? It felt impossible, a betrayal too heinous to comprehend. But the more I replayed events in my mind, the more unsettling coincidences emerged. Chloe had always been a little competitive, even in small ways. She'd get jealous if I got more attention or achieved something she hadn't. I'd brushed it off as playful banter, a quirk of her personality. But now, it felt sinister. I started to pay closer attention to her reactions when I showed her the negative reviews. While she offered comforting words, there was a subtle, almost imperceptible smirk that would flicker across her face, a fleeting glint in her eyes that I had dismissed as empathy but now saw as something darker. I decided to set a trap. It was a long shot, but I was desperate. I fabricated a secret new recipe. I told Chloe, in what I hoped sounded like an offhand, casual conversation, that I was working on a revolutionary new almond croissant, something that would change the game for the Daily Crumb. I described it in painstaking detail, even mentioning a specific, unusual ingredient that I had no intention of ever using. I watched her carefully as I spoke, and I saw that familiar flicker, that almost imperceptible shift in her demeanor. She feigned enthusiasm, but I could sense a calculating wheels turning behind her eyes. 2 days later, an anonymous review appeared online, blasting the Daily Crumb for its new, disgusting almond croissants, specifically mentioning the unusual ingredient I had fabricated. My heart hammered in my chest. There was no doubt anymore. It was Chloe. The confirmation hit me like a physical blow. The pain of betrayal was excruciating, a sharper agony than any of the damage she had inflicted on my business. My best friend, the person I had shared so much with, was actively trying to destroy me. I decided to confront her, but not in a quiet, private way. I wanted her to know the depth of her actions, and I wanted witnesses. I invited her to the bakery on a Saturday morning, a time when it was usually bustling with customers. I told her I had a big announcement to make, hinting that it was about the future of the Daily Crumb. She arrived, looking deceptively cheerful, carrying a small box of her favorite pastries from another bakery, a subtle dig, I realized now. As she sat down at a small table, I looked around the room. Regulars were scattered about, sipping coffee, enjoying their breakfasts. I took a deep breath, steeling myself. "Chloe," I began, my voice steady, though my hands were trembling slightly beneath the counter. "Thank you for coming. I wanted to thank you for all your support over the past few months." The word support hung in the air, thick with sarcasm. Her smile faltered slightly. "What do you mean, Alex?" she asked, her voice a little too sweet. "Oh, I continued, pushing a printout of the latest anonymous review across the table to her. The one about the almond croissants. Your insightful feedback on our new almond croissants. It's truly remarkable how you managed to try them, considering they don't actually exist." The color drained from her face. Her eyes darted around the room, meeting the curious gazes of a few customers who were now openly staring. "I don't know what you're talking about, Alex," she stammered, her voice thin. "Don't you?" I asked, my voice rising slightly, losing its composure. "Because I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. The burnt croissants, the dirty rat graffiti, the anonymous letters to my customers, it was all you, wasn't it?" Tears welled up in my eyes, not of sadness, but of pure, unadulterated rage. "Why, Chloe? Why would you do this to me? To the Daily Crumb? To our friendship?" The mask finally crumbled. She burst into tears, but not of remorse, I realized. They were tears of humiliation and anger at being caught. "You think you're so special, don't you?" she spat, her voice laced with venom. "Always the golden child. Always getting what you want. I worked just as hard as you, but I never got my big break. And then you, with your perfect little bakery, your perfect little life. I just wanted to knock you down a peg. I wanted you to fail." The sheer audacity, the naked envy in her words, was astounding. It wasn't about the business. It was about her own deep-seated insecurities and jealousy. I felt a profound sense of disgust. "You wanted me to fail so badly that you were willing to destroy my dream, our friendship, everything we built together?" I asked, my voice now shaking with emotion. "You're not my friend, Chloe. You never were. Get out. Get out of my bakery, and never come back." She stood up, her face blotchy and red, still sobbing, but now with a clear undercurrent of furious indignation. She grabbed her box of pastries, flung them onto the floor, scattering crumbs everywhere, and stormed out of the bakery, leaving a stunned silence in her wake. A few customers came up to me, offering words of comfort and support. Some even hugged me. The feeling of relief, mixed with the lingering pain of betrayal, was overwhelming. The aftermath wasn't immediate, but it was significant. Chloe's public outburst and my accusation had an impact. Some people in our shared social circle took her side, believing her tearful rendition of being wrongfully accused and verbally abused. But many more saw through it. The customers who had witnessed the confrontation and those who had received the anonymous letters rallied around me. They spread the word about Chloe's actions, and the tide of public opinion slowly turned. The Daily Crumb not only recovered, but it thrived. The story of my struggle and my eventual triumph over malicious sabotage resonated with people. My customers became fiercely loyal, appreciating the authenticity and resilience they saw in me. I learned a hard but invaluable lesson about trust, about discerning true friends from those who only pretend to be. It taught me the importance of fighting for what you believe in and the incredible strength that can come from standing up for yourself. I eventually expanded the Daily Crumb, opening a second location a few years later. I never saw Chloe again, and frankly, I never wanted to. The wound of her betrayal healed, leaving a scar, but also a profound sense of self-reliance and strength. And that's my story. It was a harrowing experience, but one that ultimately made me stronger and my business more resilient. Like this video if you were on my side and understood why I had to fight back. Subscribe for more stories like this, where I share the wild, sometimes heartbreaking, but always real experiences that shape our lives. And please, share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comment section below. What would you have done? Have you ever dealt with a betrayal like this? I'd love to hear your experiences. I'll see you all in the next story.